This is John for Global Traveler. Today I'm talking travel with Adam McArthur, actor, voiceover actor, entrepreneur, and many more things. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Many more things. Great. I don't know what those things are.
Well,
Don't
I
tell
I
anyone.
looked up
Those
your
are the
IMDb.
secret things.
You really got your hands in everything, man. It's the coolest thing. I love it.
I just try and keep busy, so I feel like I'm accomplishing something.
I know the feeling. Hey, let's start back when you were a little guy. You begged your
hmm
parents to let you get into the entertainment industry.
Yeah, it's pretty much true. I mean, I don't know that I would say necessarily the entertainment industry. I just wanted to be an actor. I don't think I necessarily knew what all that entailed, but I just knew that I wanted to perform and make people laugh, and yeah, that's where I found the most joy. So.
Like, how does that come to be? I mean, when I'm a kid, I love making people laugh, but I don't make the leap from I'm making my friends laugh to I can make people in general laugh.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's like this the shows that I was watching or I mean, I guess I had an older brother who he's 12 years older than me. And he was in theater and stuff at the time. So I actually don't remember if I ever did go to watch any of his stuff when I was a kid and when he was in high school, but maybe I did, and maybe that's sort of where it all started. I would have been probably in the like 3 to 5 year old age range. So maybe that's what I saw, and that's kind of where these ideas spurred. I literally have never thought about that until right this second. So
Well, that does
maybe
make
that's where it comes from.
that does make sense though.
Yeah.
Now, you've done a lot of voiceover work. How does
hmm
it, is that an intentional choice by you, or are your agents bringing that work to you?
Yeah. I am a path of least resistance kind of guy, and I started booking. My very first jobs were voiceover, and so I sort of kind of did that, and then the path sort of led me another direction, and I did was doing a lot more on camera stuff in the late 90s, early 2000s, and then after the recession we had in like 08, 09, and commercials stopped and things like that, um, it just sort of changed again and voiceover became another focus. And then, yeah, 2011, I booked a role on Star Wars Clone Wars on Cartoon Network, a little recurring 3 episode arc on that show. And just a couple years after that, I booked a Disney series, and that's sort of kind of started the bigger snowball of making my more of
Well,
my living from voiceover.
sorry about that.
That's
Um,
okay.
did is voiceover acting, is that tougher sometimes than regular acting?
I mean, it's all acting. I mean, they call it voice acting for a reason. I think you still have to sort of do your job as an actor, which is finding parallels between you and the character to make the choices and the story as real as possible for you, and sort of live in that truth. And yeah, there's many different genres of voiceover. Of course, doing a commercial or doing a promo session is not really it's more technical than it is acting, I would say. But there are some animated series, especially these days, and especially in anime, because anime likes to traumatize people, uh that require a heavy lifting as an actor. So yeah, the range can vary greatly.
And you've kind of cemented yourself well in the Comic Con industry. And what I mean is, you've done work for Disney, you've done work on a Star Wars series, you've done work on LeBron series. Those alone will get you a seat at a Comic Con table and bring the fans into you. Those just three alone will bring a lifetime of fans to you.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to think about that kind of stuff too much. The table is, I would say, ever changing. People are always getting up and coming back and leaving and sitting down and there for a long time. I don't know. I try to keep a pretty level head about all of this stuff. But, if I'm looking at it kind of just like from a business standpoint and a little bit strategically, I mean, yeah, the Star Wars fan base is huge. The Disney fan base, and people who were fans of Star versus the Forces of Evil, or were and are, people are still discovering that show, which is awesome. And then now with anime, we've sort of have this like new. It's not new. It's been around for a while, so I don't want to say new and have the OG fans from the 90s come after me because I was there too. I mean, I grew up. I was in my anime club in '96, in high school watching Ranma Half and Dragon Ball and all these like older school anime shows. But I will say, and maybe it's a byproduct of COVID and everyone just being at home and needing content to consume, but the anime culture in the West has really even though it was always steadily gaining popularity, it really kind of exploded over these last like 4 or 5 years. So it's been cool.
And then one of your series that you've been working on, Jujutsu Kaisen,
hmm
amazingly successful. Did that surprise you?
I mean, like I said, I try not to pay attention to that stuff, but with this series, it's pretty undeniable. I definitely think it's one of those once in a generation shows like a Naruto or a Dragon Ball or something like that. Um, Yeah, it's been incredible. It was just announced that we're Jujutsu Kaisen is now in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most in-demand anime on Earth,
Wow.
which is crazy. So just things like that happen, and I'm like, wait, what? Really?
Yeah.
I'm just going to work, basically, is how I look at it. But I'm not taking it for granted. I don't take it lightly. I think it's all very, very, very cool.
So you do the obviously you do the English version. Did
Mhm.
you know Japanese?
No, I have very limited Japanese. I've done judo for 30 years, which is a Japanese martial art. So most of my Japanese terminology are judo throws. So I will not be communicating for fear of starting a fight. But yeah, that's about the extent, with the exception of a few phrases that repeat commonly in anime that there are memes of. So.
So, so is that harder then to do the voiceover work for something like that as opposed to something that's written for English?
It has its challenges. I would say, there are other times when, as a voiceover actor, you can focus solely on acting and worrying about servicing the character and the story and all that. With dubbing, there is definitely, it's rubbing your stomach and patting your head. You are having to pay attention to a technical aspect of the job as well as the emotional aspect of the job. So, it is a little bit tricky and it can be difficult. There are lots of things in place to try and ease that. Softwares, the way you do it, the directors, the way they write things like that. So, um, but yeah, it can definitely still be challenging.
And I know you've done the San Diego Comic Con, you've done the New York. I haven't been to San Diego yet. I definitely want to do that. The New York Comic
Gotta
Con
do
is
it.
crazy.
hmm
When you're at the Comic Cons, I know you're incredibly busy, but do you have time to check out the city at all?
Usually I try and get in, especially if I'm flying East Coast. I've been to San Diego many times. Excuse me. I've been to San Diego many times, but especially when I'm coming East Coast or flying a far distance, I like to give myself a day or two in each of these locations to just explore, maybe check out a museum. I'm 100% eating good while I'm in these places, making sure I'm checking out some restaurants and yeah, so I try and give myself time, definitely.
So when you say you're into the eating, do you have a plan when you go to the cities? Do you check it out ahead of time, or do you kind of wing it or ask the locals? What is your plan for that?
Okay, so it can be any of those things. It also depends on who's going with me. Some of my castmates are very, very much the planning type, and so they like to have an agenda. All right, we're eating here on this night. We're eating here on this night. This is what we're doing, and I love that. I like not having to think about that stuff. If I'm going to a place with no plan, my strategy is always to find a local, and ask a local. I just did that. I was in Cleveland last weekend, and everyone I said, from Uber drivers to people who came to see me at my table to people in the airport, said Slyman's. I got to go to Slyman's, and that's a famous corned beef place. So I went to Slyman's, stood in line, got a giant Reuben, and it was delicious. It was worth it. So I'm always down for recommendations as well.
Well, in New York, you got to try one of the famous pizza places, of course.
Oh yeah, if you got one, tell me, and I'll put it on my list and save it for when I'm there.
Well, I believe pizza's the original. I believe that's the name of it. So
Okay,
yeah, that's if it's not the original, it's one of my favorites out in New York, regardless. So
okay, love it.
When you're not working, whether
Yeah.
you're in a city or not, what do you like to do to just get away from everything?
Martial arts has always been a big sort of retreat for me. It's a thing that I have not ever done as a job, even though I have a lot of friends who work in stunts and things like that. It's always just been my own passion, my safe place, my mental rest. So I still train. I try and get, three to four good Muay Thai sessions in a week. There's nothing else like it. It's an insane workout. I don't even realize I'm working out because basically, you're you're trying not to get punched and kicked while you're working out, or you're focused solely on a technique that you're trying to practice and things like that. So, um, it's a nice break from thinking about any and everything else that's going on. Um, so yeah, that's my safe place. That's what I do when I'm not doing all this other stuff.
And how much traveling do you do? Have you been to many countries? Are there countries you want to go see?
Yeah, I would definitely, Singapore, Malaysia, sort of the Southeast Asia. I have not explored. But yeah, I've been to many countries. My work has taken me to some. I've traveled to some on my own. I love Japan. I'm hoping to get back there this year. Um, I was just in Hawaii for a convention. I got to go to the Philippines. I got to go to the UK last year. The Philippines was beautiful. The UK is always lovely. Yeah, I'm pretty easy to please when it comes to places, and I just like kind of getting out and talking to people and eating eating the food, seeing what it's like, breaking bread with people from another place is one of my favorite ways to build a bridge and make a connection. We're all the same. It's just, you know, geographically different.
Well said. Well, you mentioned Japan, so I should have asked this earlier. When you go to Japan, because of the success you've had with the anime, um, are the fans there? Are the people there? Do they treat you differently than the fans here?
I mean, I actually so the last time I was there was 2019, and all of this sort of started during 2020. So I don't actually. I would imagine. I know that that voice actors in Japan are treated differently than voice actors are treated here, and there they are kind of put on this pedestal. The seiyus are what they're called. The seiyus are really, really highly looked up to. They're more like what we would, consider like an A-list celebrity here in the States. At least this is my understanding. I guess I could be wrong, but this is how it was explained to me. Um, I would imagine that it wouldn't necessarily be the same for the English voice actors of certain characters. However, I could be wrong. And I do know that Star versus the Forces of Evil, the Disney show that I did, was really big in Japan, and it's sort of a reverse situation. I'm the originator of that character,
Right.
and there is the Japanese dub of that
Oh,
character as
cool.
well. So, it would just be cool to go over there and kind of see, I guess. So that's the long way of saying I'm not totally sure what it would be like for me personally, but I'll let you know.
Absolutely. So before I let you go, is there any are you working on any projects that you're able to discuss? Anything coming
Yeah,
up in the near future?
yeah, totally. First of all, like I always announce all my projects and all that stuff on all my socials, so you can find me at NinjaMac, NinjaMac on Instagram, X, Twitter, and TikTok. And then yes, so I'm currently voicing a character named Reno Ichikawa on the English dub of an anime called Kaiju number 8. It's also streaming on Crunchyroll, but the beautiful thing about this anime is it's got a lot of hype behind it. One Republic did the closing credits song, so it's really funny, it's really fun. But the cool thing about Kaiju number 8 is it is airing at the same time as it is in Japan here in the States. So you're getting the Japanese and the English dropping on the same day, and that's going to be every Saturday around 10 a.m. So I would
Well,
love
that's
for
cool.
everyone to go check it out. It's a really, really fun show.
And I have to say before I let you go, two things real quick.
Yeah.
I checked your website, love the website. Very well
Oh, thanks so
organized,
much.
very thorough, a lot of information on there. It was really cool. You've done a great job with that. And the other thing I got to tell you is, I've told some of my friends that I was going to be interviewing you, and all the kids, like my friends, they're anywhere from 5 to 15. Their kids were just so jacked that I'm going to be talking to you, and they're going to be
Oh, that's
dying
cool.
to see this interview. So just
That's
thought I'd
cool.
let you know that you got a huge fan base, at least here in Chicago as well.
Oh, I appreciate that. Make sure to tell them all I said hello for me. That'd be really awesome.
Adam, I really, really appreciate your time. I encourage everyone to check out Adam online on all the social medias, check out his website. Adam, thank you very much for your time and good luck in the future, my friend.
Thank you so much. Good luck to you too. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.